do that for 1,000 years, and that causes selection pressure on the Ashkenazi Jews. I think that's what happened. I think that's why Mizrahi and Sephardic Jews don't have this trait. I think it's why Jews have Tay-Sachs disease. I think it's why Jews have other diseases like that. I think that there was a strong selection pressure from white colorness, and it's just kind of obvious. Anytime you meet a Jewish guy, they have a certain psychological disposition of like being verbally aggressive, like I am, being good with words, being like, I am the stereotype of the Ashkenazi Jew, someone who's good with words and is verbally aggressive. Like, oh, you think that all of us are kind of just like that, but none of the Sephardic and Mizrahi Jews are like that. This is purely just culture. It has nothing to do with the 1,000 years of being forced to be like color.
There are people who are able to articulate on the single out there, social hierarchy.
You just go read Maimonides and that'll answer all your questions.
I don't need to read that. Say people, this is something which you see everywhere.
Well, if you read Maimonides, it would refute everything you're saying.
People who are not articulate, people who are intelligent, people who are not intelligent. And they are not strong. Money, distribution of money, like usually our cultural base, and actually you would actually did it.
Yeah, so are you really the distinction? Why did you say that shit about this?
Yeah, actually your difference. The distinction is that actually the difference. And cultural evaluation you don't find. And the ebb and flow. And you can't keep this group. And then we try to say all day long that you think there's an intelligence factor to the kids. Sorry, with races. Why do you say it, Sam? We've had this conversation.
I literally just told you that because of the fucking white color selection pressures in the Middle Ages.
I mean, what has it got to do with genetics? We're talking about genetics. We're not talking about politics and culture and other influences and nutrition.
I mean, if you read the fucking Talmud, it's a bunch of nerds fucking autistically being like really, really hyper literalist and having lawyerly debates over like the dumbest minutia in the world. And it doesn't actually look that different. If you look at 400 years ago, 500 years ago, or actually not, like maybe 400 years ago, the Talmudic debates look a lot like the kind of Jewish behavior you see now. So there seems to be this like interest in verbal debate and interest in minutia and tiny little, I won this verbal debate that Jews have been into for a while now.
Also, other people have been into it for a while and longer than the Jews. For a while and longer than the Jews. Why do you look at that? So-called paragraphs of Egypt or some of the writings of the Libyans. Look at how well they've been actually looking at language and articulating things and tracking things down and pointing to the stars and on for millennia. So suddenly things have plummeted. The same ethnic groupings. This is now genetics or is something else. Why don't you look at the North Koreans and look at the South Koreans, the same ethnic grouping. Look at the differences in Africa today. Look at the contributions and sunset technology coming from North Korea and South Korea. I'm showing so many. Look at English people, many, so great. So ethnic grouping. How people can't even articulate themselves. He was in the park meeting. He was in the park. This is supposed to be that one. So he went to program. He was in the park. The same ethnic grouping, and then on the other side you have the aristocrats. You have the Shakespeares within the same ethnic grouping. You have intelligence and dumb within the same ethnic grouping.
I don't know why.
It's called an index, Mashti.
Yeah, you can see that West Africans tend to dominate sprinting. You can see that East Africans tend to dominate marathons. You see that Dinka people are really tall, the Danes are really tall, and Jews reliably win math and chess and physics Nobel Prize. It's different in population though. I bet there's zero. I bet there's zero differences. Like, I am not someone who says King's destiny. As I said, Germans used to be barbarian warlords and now they're orderly as fuck. And Egypt used to be a very different kind of place. And lots of cultures have just vastly changed the kind of society they are in and the culture they have. Things are not destiny. But I think all these differences in humans that we see, like, yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing there. No one's taller than anyone else. No one's faster than anyone else. No one's cleverer than anyone else. There's nothing there. Just something that is very different. Talk about intelligence and ethnic things or so-called racial problems. What do you say? You know the skin color could be dictated by your genes. To some degree, your height is going to be dictated by your genes, as well as nutrition and various other factors. But the genes will play a role. So we already know this, Sam. What I'm talking about now is specifically intelligence. So what you come up with
Let's talk about the sickness.
I'm actually talking about most people are smarter on average than white Europeans. Guess why? Because they were a middle class, like a merchant population that were doing white collar and like middleman minority positions for a while. And there was a selection pressure for them to be cleverer. That's why the Igbo are really cleverer. And you know what? There's other people that are like this that have been selected for being merchants to be sort of in white collar jobs for a while. And there's a selection pressure on that. It's not whole races. It's some
I'll give you one You see, English people are generally the same. From basic, people can articulate themselves as the same people. People in the public cannot do wrong divisions, but at least spell their names. And at the same time, you have the Newtons and Shakespeare poets of the same ethnic, but how do you deal with this? Forget about high skin color and so on. You know that's high in like kids. I got 10 years now, Sam. You should be high sound, same things, like two far differences in intelligence.
So Sam, I have a question. Conversation, I'm trying to understand like your positioning on really what kind of trying to like influence regarding the conversation. So like I guess what I'm trying to understand is there's correlation and there's causation with many things, right? So in being studied. No, you asked your mom and shit, right? Cool, nigga. So you asked her almost 6.
And so it's strange, isn't it, that we have acquired the habit of a constant and chronic effort to see clearly and to hear clearly. I think part of it comes from school. You know, when children are listening to a teacher in class, they're always fidgeting or doing something like this, you know, looking around, twisting, jiggling. And the teacher says, pay attention. And the children immediately, to ingratiate the teacher, are able to sort of can or act what paying attention is like. And paying attention, of course, is staring at the teacher. Yes, we're very interested in what you say. Sometimes, to get their concentration clear, they curl up their legs around the legs of the chair and go into all these straight attitudes so that the teacher knows they really are trying very hard to attend. And it is through such conditioning as that, through being taught that we must try to see and try to hear in order to have clear sight and clear hearing, that we learn constantly to strain our senses in their use. But as a matter of fact, this impedes the clarity of our senses.
In a cloud, what is your computer? We can talk. I want to see what you think.
But yeah, no, I mean that's not none when it comes to Zionism is Judaism. Now at this point you gotta defend it. For the longest, oh, Zionism is Judaism, Judaism. For the layman, they don't know that. Do I like the fact that when I go on some of these social media apps and some of this comment section is very anti-Semitic and they say horrible things? I don't like that. But you guys gotta, you're not safe around the world because of Bibi Netanyahu. And it's cabinet.
We're not safe because the world always hated Jews.
You guys, the world always hated Jews. You guys are prepared.
Anti-Semitism is the old savior.
Yeah, I doubt that.
completely disagree
I
with
doubt that. I doubt
I
that.
disagree with that point because there were points in history where the Jews have been respected and have been integrated within societies and allowed for them to go ahead and have their own courts, their own laws. Even in today's day and age, you can't just go ahead and say, oh, the world has always hated Jews. When we have countries that go ahead and allow the Jews to go ahead and have their own court system, to have their own hospital system, to have everything, and then it is subsidized by that state alone, right? So I reject that completely. However,
Sam, let me respond. Can I respond to that? Can I respond to that? Can I respond to that idea?
No, I think he's finished. He said, however.
Sounds like he's not finished.
Now, when it comes to the point of anti-Semitism,
Before you move on, can I respond to that idea?
No, he said, however. He wasn't finished.
Sounds like it's a no.
so when it comes to anti-Semitism, right, and we're talking about the hatred towards the Jewish people and towards many other people, we have to focus on the fact that there are three main points that people kind of focus on, right? I'll go ahead and go back to Nazi Germany to kind of highlight this one issue and how like anti-Semitism was on the rise there. People who were religious extremists wanted to go ahead and have a final solution with the Jews, the Jewish problem, so on and so forth, right? What did other countries do in return? How did other people retaliate, right? They fought a war to make sure that the Jewish people were safe and secure, right? And then what did we do? We also held a council to go ahead and punish the Nazi party and, kill off their main leaders, right? And anyone else who served in the Nazi regime, right? So from there on out, the world decided we can't allow this to happen. Now, if you go ahead and say, was anti-Semitism existed back then, I fully disagree with you. You can't just complain every bad person, or you can't complain like a lot of people just because of the action of a few. I don't go around spewing anti-German rhetoric just because of what Hitler and the Nazi Party did. I make it a point to go ahead and separate the Germans from the Nazi Party, right? Now, does that mean that Germans hate the Jews? No, they actually go ahead and allow them to function within their society. So you're claiming.
Sam, do you know who invented the concept anti-Zionism?
We're not going to call out the amount of times that this man is going to say, go ahead. Are we not going to mention that?
I'll just tell you, Sam, it was Stalin.
Can you go ahead and tell him?
Stalin did it. You're supporting a Stalinist.
You got to go ahead and tell him.
Yeah, okay, you're supporting a Stalinist ideology. You want to be on the side of Stalin?
How am I? Do you want to go ahead and be on the side of Stalin?
Dean, you guys find out we're actually having a real conversation here.
What's wrong with being funny?
Dean, please.
No, he's right. The kid should die because.
I'll be quiet.
Thank you.
Cal, this is a reductionist approach. Saying that I am an anti-Zionist myself, and I have never heard that Stalin is the only first one. I don't care. I know exactly why I am today, why I am an anti-Zionist. Regardless of what Stalin says, I don't know his case, his issue, his problem, Jews or Palestine. I don't care about them. Myself, as a Palestinian, I'm an anti-Zionist for other clear reasons.
So help me for a second, because I recall, and maybe I'm wrong again, maybe that's somebody else. I recall you saying that you're Egyptian. I could be wrong.
No, I am Palestinian. So was that.
I might be thinking about something else.
Oh, Arabic sound is named to you, right, Caleb?
No, actually, I can't make out the different Arabic accents. No, I can certainly
just kind of.
different. Please be quiet. I can certainly differentiate in my ear different Arabic accents. I don't know exactly which ones belong to which regions, but I can hear that there's a difference. I don't think.
There's not a difference. You're just
It's not a difference, you fool. Now you really stepped in it.
Wait, Lindsay, you just contradicted yourself. You're telling me I should be.
I was being sarcastic when you just said, I said all Arabs sound the same. I was being sarcastic.
Okay, and then I said, no, I don't, and then you doubled down on your sarcasm.
Yes.
So the fact that when we were talking about anti-Zionist rhetoric or whatever, we're now going to be talking about, we say, access to order, that doesn't make any point.
Right. So.
I was just asking
Get back on track.
Sorry to do a picture. You're not really Palestinian, you're Egyptian.
No, please don't ascribe motive. I asked a very simple question that got answered, and that's the end.
All right, Caleb, so I have a very simple question for you, right? Is everything that the Nazi Party did, is everything that the Nazi Party did, anti-Semitic?
Everything? No, they did stuff against all kinds of other people, too.
So, now explain to me, what do you say, what made the Nazi Party bad?
They're murderers.
Okay, so when we're having the same criticism about Zionists, and we have anti-Zionist rhetoric based on that, right? We're not just going ahead and saying anti-Semitic stuff or whatever. We're pointing out the fact that they are murderers, they are committing genocide, they are doing bad things to they're doing bad things to good people, right? And then claiming that they're a just cause when they're not, right? So,
Well, there's obviously more to it.
I
I mean, there's obviously more to it because the Nazis, there's more to the Nazis than simply the fact that they were murderers. And there's more to the fact that the conflict between Israel and Palestine than they're murderers. You could say that the Palestinians are murdering the Jews. You could say that the Israelis are murdering the Palestinians, but I think that there's more to it. I mean, the Nazi regime was targeting Jewish members of German society. These were citizens.
So,
Right? Members, excuse me,
President.
I was sitting on mute for a while.
Okay.
Is my time up? Let me just try to answer your question. The way I see it, quick differences. In the Nazi times, they were targeting Jewish citizens of Germany, right? So it was members of society who were targeted for the fact that they were Jewish. They were being blamed for the ills of society, and they were targeted for their Jewishness. The Palestinians, arguably, are targeting the Israelis for two reasons. The Palestinian argument is that they're targeting the Israelis for occupation. The Israeli view is basically they're being targeted for their Jewishness once again. And the Israelis targeting the Palestinians is very different. The Israelis are
They targeted them for the Palestinians in Arab.
Let me, just hold together, I'm almost done. So,
Matrix. By the way, I'd like if this room wasn't live streamed. Sorry, if someone can remove Kitover.
Get over it, don't remove him, he brings a lot of value.
Oh, yeah, Dean, can you remove him?
Alright, wait.
Damn.